Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap. In this part we're doing the Fortress of Winds. To think the ruins were hidden within this cliff the whole time. Watch your step, Link. There may be traps in here. Eslow's voice changes probably so often I can't even tell. It's weird, his character seems like he'd be easy to make a voice for, but it's surprisingly not. Anyway, in this room we got the first of many eyeball switches. Pretty much the best way to handle these guys. Well, you just shoot an arrow into them. That's the only way you can actually open them. And we got another enemy barrage room. Like the rest, just kill all the enemies. Stealthos, which these guys are, they like to jump away from your attacks. In fact, that's what they do in every 2D Zelda game aside from Zelda 1 and 2, as far as I can remember. Anyway, in this room we got some rupee-like likes, and our first spark enemy. I just caused my trash can to tip over, that's my bad. The thing is with the spark enemies, as I'm gonna wait and show off right here, is that if you hit them with a boomerang, a fairy actually appears. I guess they're actually more accurately called anti-fairies, now that I think about it. Because they're not bubbles, bubbles are later on. And yay, more spiny choo-choos. I rarely ever kill them with a sword, that's actually kind of awesome. Now in this room we actually have 4 eye switches, 2 to each door. Yeah, actually that's a sentence that makes sense. 2 to open up each door. Though since we're going for 100%, we want to go through the north door first, because as you've noticed, there's 2 deactivated Igor statues in here, and as odd as it is to say this, we have to activate some enemies to progress onwards. Though if you know the dungeon as well as I do, this is completely optional. I'm just showing it off for those who don't know it's there. Because in here is actually where we get a fairly important dungeon item. Mind you, it's actually rather common. We get the compass? Yeah. So if you're looking for hidden treasures, this is the room to go to. And these two... I rarely ever make a mistake like that. That's kind of embarrassing, honestly. And in this next room here, we have, as is probably very obvious to see, some split panels beneath all that. At first, you're going to need to do a vertical arrangement and push this block all the way to the right. You can do nothing about the block on the bottom, that's just here to impede your progress. And luckily, while your split personality, as I like to call it every now and then, can phase through blocks, it can actually phase through a couple of seconds before it can disappear. I could have reworded that so much better. Anyway, pulling that switch makes a key fall. Did something just fall down, or was it just my imagination? Gotta say yes to one of them. I'm not gonna say which one. You crazy little green cap, you. And with that, we've got a small key. And now we actually want to enter the center arrangement, because this dungeon is pretty much divided into 3 different corridors. And in this room, there's 2 Igor statues you can kill to progress, but you only need to kill 1 in order to actually go places. And up here we got the dungeon map. I'll check that out eventually. Anyway, you can actually use a key on either of those doors to progress, but the way for fastest completion is actually through the left. You can go to the right if you want, but you'll be able to do everything that you can over there. In fact, doing that makes a really weird key order. Oh god, wall masters. If they catch you, you're sent to the beginning of the dungeon. Getting my bombs out just in case, because we got another dark nut here, this one red-colored. I actually really like the sprites for the Dark Nut in this game. Although the exact same thing is... Actually, no, they're Dark Nuts in Wind Waker. I was thinking they were Iron Knuckles for some reason. No, the Iron Knuckles are Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Twilight Princess. I think they're in Twilight Princess. I know there's some gigantic night enemy you first meet in Temple of Time. Anyway, up here on this ledge, as I already have the bombs out, you might notice there's these 3 panels that are different on the floor. Bomb the middle one to find a secret passage. And we got and here we got the mole mitts. Dig, dig, dig to your heart's content. This is the equivalent to the shovel. It not only does it allow you to dig through dirt walls like that, but you can also dig through those weird dirt patches that we've been seeing in the walls in the overworld, along with dig up grass and such on the ground to get rupees and such. In fact, that makes the area surrounding Link's house my favorite place to money grind in the game, because there's so much grass you can do in that ground you can dig up in that area. Anyway, over here we got a kinstone piece, and in this room right here, which is completely optional, we have a first encounter with a certain enemy type that people are not a fan of in certain games, Wizrobes. Personally speaking, I only really hate them in Zelda 1 and 2. Zelda 2, they look like the clan. But here we got 80 mysterious shells. Completely optional, and if you need mysterious shells, this is a pretty good place to go for them. And now there's actually a couple chests we missed because we couldn't get them earlier on in this path, so I have to go back and get those. So let's go and do that, shall we? There's not one on the left as far as my memory can be remembering. That was such poor grammar, it's kind of sad. Although I think when you go to a different floor, the rupee likes respawn, so they're actually really good for money grinding at this point. Mind you, I already have lucky 777s actually. I didn't even notice that until now. Huh. Well, luck doesn't seem to be on my side right now. Actually, I think this is one of the first playthroughs I've actually done where I have this much money at this point. Usually I have much, much less. And now we actually head to the far right, well not far right, second to right corridor, and you might notice there's a Minish tunnel there. We'll be getting into that later. First off, in this room, besides the anti-fairy there's a couple of staffles you can... You can't really kill a skeleton, can you? Ah, well. Got a blue kinstone in there. The door here is activated by the left lever, but the right one will also do something, so doing that will actually, first off, get out of my way. Pulling this one will make another chest appear with another blue kinstone in it. Not sure why they like kinstones in this area, but they do. And another kinstone. Kinstones are usually... Pretty much if you see a chest that's completely optional in a dungeon, it's more than likely going to be a kinstone or rupees. Hello, Armo statues, how are you? And you need to kill that Armo statue because the switches in the rooms to the right can only be activated if you use those 2 specific panels. Otherwise, it'll come up just short. Knowing the speedrunning community, there's some way you can glitch that, but I don't care for that. I'm not sure why I'm getting stuck on the Armo statue, but I was. Anyway, you have to turn that guy on, and then use this portal in order on to continue. In order on to continue. I got some switches, word switch there. Okay. That happens to me a lot, doesn't it? Ooh, shells. You gotta wonder what a robot's doing with some shells. Anyway, there's a key there, which we need to progress on, but you might notice that Minish tunnel down there. We actually have to use this specific portal and fall down to be able to access that. And doing so will actually get us something rather important for 100% completion. If you haven't noticed, there's one of these or 2 of these in every dungeon. A heart piece. I'm going off memory right now. I think this is heart piece number 20? Yes it is! In fact, we have 10 hearts. It's actually... We're halfway done with heart containers. Booyah! And there's 50 rupees over here you can get. So let's actually get this key. And let's see, now I need the Pegasus boots out. Ow. One thing that's actually kind of weird about the roll attack is that you may have seen it once or twice by now. Randomly, when you use it, well, actually, it's more like when you're in really close proximity when you use it, you'll do a spin attack. Phew, we barely made it. I was certain we'd run out of time. Well, you're just a negative Nancy there, aren't you, Aslo? I'm not sure exactly the stipulation of making the spin attack happen when you do a rolling attack. I think it's your proximity to the enemy, but I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, killing those floor masters, which do the exact same thing as the wall masters, they'll send you back to the beginning of the dungeon. We'll make a Minish portal appear, but we don't want to use that yet. We want to come over here and do something. Because as you notice, there's a locked door there. And we can't pick up normal small keys when we're in our Minish form. Snakes. It always has to be snakes. Yeah, better being normal snakes than being a snake eater. Or a random snake in the middle of an Alaskan military base where terrorists are trying to nuke everything. Konami. You want to open that door, but don't go through it. You actually have to want to go back and turn into a Minish now that you've done that, because there's a Minish tunnel on the other side of that door that you can only get through if you use this specific portal. And you want to make sure you're in between these spikes, otherwise you're not going to make it through easily. And, ooh, there's a big chest there. That's probably the boss key, but we won't be getting that for a couple of minutes. I'll come into this tunnel and actually grow back to normal size, obviously. And dig into where the key landed. There's only anti-fairies and or nothing in those other holes. But anyway, once you get that key, turn back into your Minish size, and then fall down this little jump gate, and the floor masters can't grab you when you're like this, thankfully. But with that, we want to dig south once we're in here. Because now we can reach this ladder. Ooh, more remove. I like money, if you can't tell. 870 rupees. I think that's the most I've had this early in the game. Usually I don't get all the wallet upgrades until probably around the 4th or 5th dungeon. But you see this little skull platform or pattern on the floor? Follow down the right eye, because that's where the chest was if you were paying attention earlier. And with that, we have the boss key, so now we can actually progress to the boss, which is actually in a corridor I have not entered yet, technically speaking. If you remember where the, or no, I'm thinking the wrong area. Technically, we've been in the room before the boss. Actually, no, wait, do it? Have we? I don't remember. But in here is actually where the last normal chest of the dungeon is. Just dig around this little weird pillar thing. And push it onto the switch to make a chest appear, and there is a bluekin stone. And then dig north. Push this block right here to the right to make the red portal appear. And this is pretty much just a refill station to prepare you for the boss, because you're going to need arrows for this one, and yeah. The hell? It's a weird head that's glowing and making an eerie sound. And now it's floating, that's great. And it has 2 gigantic robot hands. Great! This is Mazaal. His pattern's pretty much the basic staple of the Zelda series ever since Bongo. Bongo from Ocarina of Time. Shoot the eyes in his hands with arrows and then slash them to death to make his hands stop functioning. And then Mazaal's head itself will fall down to the ground. You can actually go into his mouth, and that's actually how you have to defeat him. The first time you do it, you have to get the emoluments out, but the second time onwards, you're going to need to get the emoluments out and then slash the pillar that has an eye on it. After that, it'll explode, and you'll be forced out, be it by that guy that picks you up, or you can walk out yourself. Fairly simple pattern, and honestly rather easy, but it's a boss fight I like all the same. He actually has his own attacks that he can do, but I rarely ever see them. And what they are is, I think it's an elemental attack from each of his eyes. I think blue does ice, red does fire, kind of like Twin Rova from Ocarina of Time with Majora's Mask. And the Oracle games, actually. You actually don't have to unveil the entire pillar to slash it. As long as you see the blue outline, you should be good. But honestly, he's rather easy, and I like how the door has to close every time you enter. Really, this boss is rather easy. I think his counterpart in Wind Waker is harder. I don't know why I turned to a Minish there, but I did. Yeah, there's one of his... I rarely ever see him use his eye attacks. But really, as standard for Nintendo bosses, third time's the charm, and this should kill him. You'll know he's dead when the entire area blows up instead of just one pillar. And like all bosses, and thankfully with this one it makes sense because he's technically a robot, he explodes. Though I'm confused as to why he drops a heart. But with that, we've got our 11th heart container. We're now in the second row of them. And there's no element here. We are the tribe of winds, rather. Long have we lived with the winds. We have mastered them, and now we join them. Together with the great winds at our backs, we head for the skies. Those who come seeking our power must play the notes Zephyr teaches. May they lead you onward to the power that you seek. Holy crap, we've got a blue potato! But we've got the Ocarina of Wind. North, south, east, and west are all just a breath away. I do believe this is where the tribe of winds once lived. So they've all left for the heavens and taken their element with them. It looks like the wind element is beyond our reach for the time being. We have no choice but to press on. Let's get out of here. Convenient teleportation! The element was not here, but at least we now have a clue as to its whereabouts. We must use the Ocarina of Wind to open a new path. Well, there's no point standing around. Go get that last element. Don't you mean third element? So let's try out this Ocarina of Wind. Not only do we get the Warp Whistle theme from Mario 3 and Zelda 1, but we can also see these familiar-looking crests. And look where we are. Aha! So that mysterious mark we've been seeing is a wind crest. If you play the Ocarina of Wind, Zephyr comes to pick you up and fly you away. That means we can have Zephyr carry us to any other wind crest we've seen. You following me, Link? Don't hurt your brain thinking about it. Screw you. Just give it a try and you'll see what I'm talking about. I just did. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And next time on Let's Play Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, we are going to be not accidentally investigating some Pico-lights. Seeing what we can do now that we have the Warp Whistle, Ocarina of Wind. And yeah. See you guys then.